Street lights conveniently aren't working. We know where this is going. Stupid girl. Go back. Don't be her. Hello, hey, hi, and welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time here, welcome. As I always encourage, get comfortable, get cozy. Today, I have a very important topic to discuss with you guys today. We are talking about basic street safety for women in public. It's crucial that we have knowledge and the tools to protect ourselves, especially when we're navigating through public spaces. So, without further ado, let's move right into this topic. Let's go. So, first and foremost, let's talk about our surroundings and being aware of where we're at and what's happening around us. And by this, I mean like just staying alert and being conscious of what's happening, as I said, around us. Avoid distractions. And I see this ever so often where people are just on their phones and it's just, and they barely look up. They barely look up. Or you're on your headphones and the music is playing. Yes, I know it's all well and good because it's the company when you're walking alone. But any one of these items can easily distract us and make us an easy target. So by staying aware, at least we can identify potential risk and it will put us in a position where we can react quickly. So next up is using well-lit and populated areas. So stick to streets that are well illuminated or areas that have generally a good amount of people in them, especially at nighttime. This makes it less likely for anybody who has bad intentions to approach us. Just remember, especially when it comes to this part, or when we find ourselves in situations like this, visibility is always key. So no dark alleys. We've seen this in movies. We've seen this, so stay away from that. Stick to places or at least areas where there are, number one, a lot of people, or at least a fair amount of people, and it is not dark. It's illuminated, it's lit. There's street lights. You're not walking around with a torch. Yes. So our third tip is to trust your intuition. As women, we often have very strong intuition. So usually if something feels off or you're getting bad vibes about something, do not ignore it. Do not ignore it. Trust your gut and take the necessary precautions or necessary steps, to protect yourself. I think our intuitions can be a very, very powerful tool in keeping us safe. So again, I will encourage you to, them voices, trust them. Not always, but most of the time. Kidding. Let's move on. Moving on to point number 4, avoiding isolated or dimly lit areas. Now, as I've stressed before, if you find yourself in an area that is very poorly illuminated or even deserted, reroute. Even if it means by changing your route, it's going to take you longer to reach your destination. I think it's important that we don't compromise our safety. So change and go to a more populated area. I cannot stress this enough because, like I say, I'm highlighting points that I see ever so often. And I'm not talking about in the movies, I'm talking about in real life. Often we'd be driving at night or just going somewhere and you find people walking around by themselves and the streets aren't even well illuminated. So I'm going to put a lot of emphasis on this because it does make us an easy target. So like I said, stick to places that are more populated, that are well illuminated, and don't put yourself in a compromising position where we can make for easy targets. Let's move on. So our 5th tip focuses on the importance of having a plan. As important as our previous tips were, so is this one. We need to familiarize ourselves with the areas that we frequently visit. Do we know the locations of emergency exits? Are we familiar with security personnel? This could be places in the schools, it could be in your workspace, it could be in your apartment buildings. Anywhere, as I said, that we frequent often. I think it's very important that we have a plan that can help us to respond effectively if and when a case of emergency arises, we are prepared. So, like I said, familiarize, know what's going on, know your emergency exits. I try to make a point of doing that in most of the areas that I frequent. For example, where I live in our apartment building, it's very important for me to know not only one emergency exit. The second emergency exit might even be over my balcony. Broken legs, it's okay, I'm still alive. But I just feel that it's important. Okay, no, don't do that. But I'm just saying it is important. I'm just stressing and putting emphasis on this because natural disasters could occur or any emergency could occur. You don't want to be caught up in a situation where when we panic, we don't think. So we want to be on our feet when it comes to that. We want to be prepared. You don't want to be caught in a building when the fire happens. Just saying. Let's move on. So next, I recommend avoiding excessive displays of valuable items. So it's all well and good. We want to look nice. It's nice to look nice. It's nice to walk around with jewelry, have a little bit of bling, you know, look bedazzled. You want to look presentable. And there's nothing wrong with it. But I do feel that keeping your expensive jewelry or gadgets is very important in public. So I don't say don't use them, but just keep them out of sight. I think minimizing the visibility of valuable items just really does help, not only for ourselves, but it helps reduce the chances of attracting unwanted attention. All the time, wherever you are, there are always eyes on us. We don't know who they are, but we don't want to put ourselves in compromising situations or positions where we can become an easy target. And generally, that usually is the case. Like I said, people are always looking at us. We're always in the spotlight, even when you think nobody's watching. So just you wear what you feel that you want to wear, but just not as visible. Not as visible. Let's move on. So finally, let's talk about the significance of traveling in groups whenever possible. So most of us know the sayings, or at least the warnings from our parents about safety in numbers, or some know it as strength in numbers. And I feel this is very important because it puts us in a position where we're less likely to be targeted by an attacker, especially whether we're at parties or whether you even walk into your car. If you're in a position where you can have somebody accompany you, do it, do that. It's very important to remember that there is safety in solidarity. So if and when we find ourselves in an isolated position, or not isolated position rather, but if we find ourselves alone or alone in an isolated place, just remember it might not always be comfortable for you to be in groups, but there is protection in that. So keep that in mind. It's very, very important. Like I stressed before, people are always watching. There's always somebody watching. So when you think that you're alone, just bear that in mind. So just remember that street safety is an essential aspect of our daily lives. I know that some of these tips might seem straightforward or very basic or familiar to most of us. But I think it's very important that we empower ourselves just to reduce the risks of, or the risk that we may encounter in public spaces. So if you find that some of these tips were valuable or somebody else might benefit from it, share it with family members, share it with loved ones. I think it's important that we spread awareness and create a safer environment, not only for ourselves, but for everyone else. This is what I try to promote in this community. Things that we can share with other people to help them improve, to help ourselves improve. This is a very important aspect of self-growth, but also self-awareness. So thank you for taking the time to watch today's video. Again, I'm going to highlight, don't forget to like, don't forget to comment down below. I'm always going to encourage you to get active in the comment section down below. And to subscribe, please. Come back. To my first timers, if this is the type of information that you like, be sure to join us next week with a new video. I like to put out very informative content, as my description says. It's self-improvement, self-growth, but sometimes we just keep it light. So instead of my usual goodbye, I thought I'll just switch it up a little bit, just so that it's more appropriate for today's title or the information that we discussed in today's video. So stay safe, take care, and until the next time I see you, be street smart and stay vigilant. Ciao.